Hi and welcome back to this YouTube channel and my eBay sellers account, GB Hatchery. Today's video I'm going to go over my Xbox controller settings for American Truck Simulator. So this is what I found to work for me, the best default style controller setting that I think should have been already in the game. They should have a default setting for most people so that they don't have to worry about setting it up, because that's the big no-no. It's not really a no-no, but it's like that's the big, the consoles. I hate to go between the consoles and the PCs, but the consoles have that usually, some type of default setup for the controller, and that's really nice because everyone learns it, and if you pass someone the control, they know exactly where everything is. So this game, as far as I know, did not have that. It has maybe a keyboard setup. This is an older game that they've been updating, I believe, and it has VR. It's excellent. I always play in VR, and I always play with my Xbox control. So first things first, keyboard, it says plus missing. Maybe I'm not sure what that is, but I always make sure this one has gamepad. Somehow pick gamepad on this first one. And if you need to, put gamepad on every one. And then the controller subtype, I put gamepad here and joystick. And you can just copy this exactly. Now, if you don't have this Bluetooth Zinput compatible device, I'm not exactly sure what that is. It says it's missing anyway. So keyboard plus missing. So I have a lot of missing things. This is my stick for flight simulation. So, but this gamepad 1, I actually have that wired in because, for my own reasons, the battery, I have a battery dock that I normally put it on, but the batteries have gone dead over a number of years, so I need to replace that battery dock. But so I just use a wired game controller right now because the computer's right there. So anyway, controller subtype. So then everything is how you would want to have it. However you have it, this is my settings. So if you like to try my settings, you can do this. Simple automatic. The thing about simple automatic is you do not need to change any gears manually. So that frees up buttons. If you don't have to downshift and upshift. Now, if you're going to want to upshift and downshift, maybe you don't need something else that I have. You could have, I use the right click on the right joypad, or joy button, what do you call it? The joystick on the right side. The down click on that, like the joystick 3 or whatever they call that, when you press down on the joystick and it clicks. I have that for rolling the window down, but if you wanted, you could have that for possibly downshift. I don't know, it's up to you. But automatic adaptive transmission disabled. Here's my steering sensitivity, force feedback for sure. Now all this is out. I think if you have a wheel set up, then this will all light up, so you can do that for that. Steering axis, it says joy missing, acceleration axis. Okay, so why is the joy missing? It's because it's turned off. One moment. Alright, so let's see what happened there. Alright, I turned my Xbox controller on. Steering axis is joy X axis. So what you have to do is you have to click this, and then you have to wiggle the joy steering axis, which is the left stick. Now the steering axis dead zone, you can change that, but this is where I have it. The steering axis mode is centered. Okay, so the acceleration axis is the joy right trigger. So on the right trigger, you pull that. You press this, and it'll ask you what button, and you press joy right trigger with your controller working. Acceleration axis dead zone. I just put it right there. Acceleration. Now the dead zone, it's where nothing happens for a minute. So if you're pressing it down, those dead zones are, it's not going to respond for a moment until you get past it. If this was a graph, most people know this, so we're going to move on. Acceleration axis mode, centered. So centered seems to work for these. Brake axis is brake XX. Brake XX is joy left trigger. So get on the left trigger for that one, for the brake. and centered. So, okay, we're moving on. So this is the clutch, no clutch. With the automatic transmission, we're omitting the clutch. Now, if you want to put your own in, that's going to throw this all out of whack because I've got every single button on there used. Look up and down axis. Joy RY axis. Okay. I don't look up and down in VR. I'm not sure why that's left, right axis. Look left and right. So I'm not sure why this RX and RY are here. This is probably maybe default, but it's not something that I use. Now for the H shifter setup, I put the shifter layout to splitter. And the shifter position in reverse, joy is missing. So I don't, like I said, no shifting. We're going to leave that alone. So if a person wants to, they can set that up. I know this has things in it, joy back, joy start. These aren't things, I don't think they have, the Xbox has that necessarily. Joy back. Maybe those buttons, I've pressed every button on here and I know which ones I use. So like I said, as far as the transmission goes, nada. So that's those, and then what we do is these keys and buttons now. That's the controls. That does some, but this keys and buttons is what I've been using. So keys and buttons down here at the bottom. Now you go to the top, and the throttle up is W, throttle down. Now this is all taken care of. These are the default settings that it does come with, but these are keyboard settings. So anything that says joy is something that I've done manually. So stop and start the engine is joy right stick press. To start and stop the engine, you press down on the joystick on the right one. So what you do is you press this button, it asks you which, and you press down on the joystick till it clicks. So let's see where else we have a joy. Let's see. Okay, here we are. Right turn indicator. That's pretty easy. The bumpers, right? Okay, so the left bumper and the right bumper here. Left turn indicator, right turn indicator. Super easy. When you're setting this game up, this is really, really kind of annoying. I gotta say, I don't enjoy that part. I don't mind messing with the settings for the graphics because you're always kind of getting something out of it, but with this it's like, oh man, this should be done. Light modes. Okay, so this is turning your lights on and with just the running lights, and then it's not to put on your high beams though, but it'll turn your lights on and off. So the D-pad, I press left for the lights, and that's really not a political thing. It was just, it seemed right at the moment. So high beam headlights, Joy 2 is missing. I had that on there at some point. I think it was maybe pressing down on the right or something. But high beams, you can set that one up to something if you find something. But I think I ran out of buttons. But you could possibly, if you have a joy pad pressed down on the stick, it could be used there. But I use it to roll down the window. So if you like to have high beams instead of the window, then you can do that. But I like to have the window to open. The only thing is you can't close it once you open it. But if it's one of those days, you leave it open. So wipers, joy pad right. So you can cycle through the wipers setup with the different modes from low to high with the D-pad. It says joy, but it's not the stick. It's the D-pad right. So just like on the old NES controller, the D-pad is what you want to use on that. So then here we have the cruise control. I find this amazing. To be able to set cruise control is joy X. You just press the X button. You click this, cruise control X. Because you're probably going to fall asleep and go off the side of the road. So that's a good one. Alright, we're a little slapstick now. Let's keep going. Alright, bless you. Here we are. Let's go, let's go. Next camera. Joy D-pad up. Okay, so this is how I set my next camera. This is where if you want different views so you can see what's going on outside of the truck, off to the wheel, all the different camera views that they give you, D-pad up. So you click that, press D-pad up. And moving on down. This is just a really quick, you can use this and then if you want to change it to your liking. But this kind of takes the guesswork out of what are the very basics that you need to play the game. Because you got to go through here and figure out which ones you want and which ones you don't want and which ones you have to have. They should be a different color if you have to have it to play the game. Activate. Enter. So I like A for enter. So there's A. Activate. That's the yes button. Okay, trailer detach. I use Y. That's that top button. When you're trying to attach a trailer, it just seemed intuitive that it should be Y for me, but you know, you can try it out. Menu, Joy start button. That's, yeah, the start button to take you to the menu. Perfect. Alright, quick save, none of that, didn't do any of that. Those are all just defaults. Default, okay, here's a Joy. World map, Joy pad down. So if you ever need to look at the map, you just press D-pad down and it'll take you right to the map. That is super handy because you might need to sleep, you might need gas, you might just want to look around. Sometimes people like to just drive from one side of the map to the other for no reason whatsoever other than to relax and enjoy. So that's it. That's my whole controller setting. There are some clicks on the sticks if you want to, like I was saying, roll the window down, or there was, what was that other one I was saying, the high beams. We had set one to click, and if you want to use the other one for something else, one was the start stop. I think it was the right click. So if you put either roll the window down on the left stick, or you can have that one. What was the thing? The other thing that we needed is roll the window down or high beams. So that's it. I hope that helps. Hope it helps you have a default setting for American Truck Simulator. Always remember you can shop at my eBay store, GB Hatchery. I sell all kinds of used items on eBay. You can always check it out. I'll leave a link in the description to my eBay store, GB Hatchery. Other than that, I hope you're safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next video.